David, let's just talk through what the Gray report was and wasn't, and how the Prime Minister has responded to it.
Yeah, so what we got today was not actually the full report. Sue Gray called it an update. She decided that she wanted to get some information out there, but she was very clear in what she wrote, that the full details she's had to hold back because this police investigation is ongoing. But she does draw a pretty firm conclusion that there were parties that shouldn't have happened. She says these things should not have been allowed to go ahead. She also points to a culture of drinking in the office in Downing Street. That's pretty damning and pretty extraordinary thing to call out. This somehow has exacerbated this lax approach to the rules. So calling out misbehaviour in Downing Street, and it was strong enough, without seeing all those details, for the Prime Minister to have to come to Parliament, and he started off his statement with a very sincere and very contrite apology. Remember, just a few weeks ago, he was saying that all the rules were adhered to all the time. There was nothing really, as far as he was aware, that was in contravention of the rules. Well, a very different take on events we heard from him this afternoon.
Yeah, apologizing to the British people, saying he understands where their anger is coming from and he knows what is wrong and he's going to fix it. When it comes to those fixes, is that enough to get him out of hot water?
Well, yes, some cosmetic things he announced, a new sort of office for the Prime Minister, something structural at 10 Downing Street. I think the details of that are probably going to pass most of the public by. But in his statement, he very quickly then pivoted from the contrite approach and the apology to really coming out all guns blazing with the policy kind of agenda and trumpeting things like the vaccine success and the fact that the British economy is quite open now after COVID, and talking about the future. So that is going to be his strategy here, trying to divert the public's attention and of his own MPs, of course, from this story, hoping the longer it goes on that people, frankly, are going to get a bit bored of it, and really being quite aggressive on the front foot about what the policy proposals might be going forward. You know, it is a gamble. At the moment, we know the public are still very angry with the Prime Minister, but we saw the MPs falling in line, well, most of them, not all, but falling into line. The key is going to be, what do the public think over the coming weeks and months? If his popularity remains very low and falling, then maybe this question about a leadership challenge is going to come back. But for now, he lives to definitely fight another day.
So let's talk about the rest of the week. He's going to focus on Ukraine. He's going to be travelling. There are going to be headlines generated out of that. Are we going to get anything on the fiscal front that could maybe alleviate the cost of living crisis, which is probably where many people would argue his government should be focusing? Just in terms of the levers that he's likely to be pulling over the next few days, what do they look like?
Yes, that's right. And, you know, yesterday, the Chancellor and he co-authored a piece in the Sunday Times saying that they were not going to cancel this planned increase in national insurance, but trying to tackle this question of the cost of living crisis. That this is going to be a big problem for the government if they don't do something about it. Gas bills and electricity bills are due to rocket come the spring. We have inflation obviously running very high. The Bank of England forecast to put up interest rates several times this year. The public are going to start feeling this in their pockets. So he needs a big economic plan to deal with that. They've talked about things like tinkering with VAT on energy bills. That's probably not going to move the needle. They need something a little bit more dramatic. And I think listening to the Prime Minister today, I wouldn't bet against him coming out with something very eye-catching in the coming weeks to try to grab that agenda back and to show, you know, that he's what he claims he was elected to do, which is to level up the country, speaking to those constituents in the north of England who voted Conservative for the first time. If he doesn't do that, then I think you're not going to see his popularity budge, and, you know, then there's going to be more questions raised again about his leadership.